I think it did play a role, important role in the Velvet Revolution. Czechoslovakia was kind of the last of the slow to overcome communism. And even after things had moved in Poland and Hungary, things were still frozen in Czechoslovakia. And it was through Radio Free Europe and the other Western broadcasters, VOA and BBC, that Czechs heard about what was going on around them. And I think that was one of the important factors that led to the gathering in Wenceslav Square in November of 1989. I think there are lessons from Cold War broadcasting. It is a new media environment. It's new technology, it's a new information age, and new instruments of control of media by authoritarian regimes. Nonetheless, I think some of the lessons from Cold War broadcasting still apply. There's a thirst for information, and there's a thirst for honest information. And it's what led one listener in Western Pakistan, listener to RFE broadcasts, to say, I listen because it tells me what's going on here around. And people, all politics is local, all news is local. People want to know what's going on around them. So they want information, they don't want to be lectured to. They don't want to be told what to do, and that's a lesson that I think the radio has learned over time during the Cold War. You want to provide information. You don't want to tell people what to do. And you've got to be honest with your information. You can't tilt it or spin it. You can't put only good light on everything that happens in the West. That's not credible. And if there's one thing that's precious, it's credibility. You got to build that up slowly. If you lose it, the game's up. If we take the case of the Russian Federation, we've seen in this current, in the last Putin presidency, just year by year, increasing government control, decline of media freedom. It's more subtle and gradual than in the Cold War communist days. It's who owns media outlet. It's not all government controlled, but these are oligarchs. These are friends of the President Putin. And gradually, the scope for independent expression declines. That started with television, then went to radio, and now we see increasing inroads on internet freedom in the Russian Federation. Though the challenge is to get, you can't really compete with television. So the challenge is to get multimedia into the Russian Federation, basically through the internet. And if we get to a situation of blocking the internet in the way that the Chinese do or Iran does, then you find workarounds, which works in those countries as well.
We are facing an audience that actually like what Russian media is doing to them. They like living this illusion. Patriotic journalism, they like listening to it. They live paranoia, and they like. So they like it. This is our challenge there. So how to do it? Because A, they don't like you. B, they don't want you. C, they don't want to be challenged. But if you try to define every single society with a kind of line from black to white, if on the black side is, let's say, regime, and if on the white side are oppositions, you will never manage to get people who are with the regime. And you don't need to spend too much energy in trying to reach those on the opposite side, because they're with you anyway. So you need to try to reach those in between. Why Putin is successful? He's successful in his propaganda because there are probably a number of people who decides what message is going to be to send today. Correct? So we need to take lessons from this. So instead of thinking about how many platforms we have, what are we going to do, how many TV programs, no, we need to think differently. We need to come up with a story approach. So the story is the key. You decide to go for the story, and then you place the story on various platforms. Example, today, Putin is in Belgrade. He is going to praise the Russian army that liberated Belgrade. Okay, Russian media is going to take it as a message, we liberated the world. Yeah, nobody defeated Hitler, but we did. say, our message is going to be different. It's going to say, okay, just a second. Who actually liberated Belgrade? Russian army? Okay, fine. But within the Russian army, there were Ukrainians, Western army, local army. Okay? Then add to this economy, etc., fourth year of the war, and then you come completely different picture than the message he has been sending. So I'm trying to say we need also to concentrate on the story we want to send, not on the platform. I don't think you'll find anybody funded by US Congress who will tell you we have enough.
We're not doing enough to fill the need, and it's a challenge because you can have the best programming and broadcasts and video and multimedia, but if you can't deliver it, if it can't be gotten to the audience, then you're not accomplishing very much. So the real challenge is in delivery, I think. And in some countries you can do that with satellite TV. That's big in direct satellite-to-home TV broadcasts. That's big in Iran. That will not work in Russia. Satellite reception is just not a common practice there. So we're left with the internet. It's a challenge.